Hey guys, it's August 23rd today. It's Doctor Who Day. That's not the point of this video. I am not making an update for once. I wanted to talk about name change stuff. So pretty much because I needed to rant about it, so I excuse my fast-paced talking that is definitely going to come. Okay, so the way it works in Quebec is that first you have to apply for the name change, and then once it's been approved, then you could actually send in the papers to have your name changed. So I sent in an application pretty much as soon as I got back from surgery in December, and they sent me a letter towards the end of January saying that my application had been approved and that I could file the actual thing when I wanted to. So then you get this nice big envelope, and it's full of all the forms you have to fill out and a list of all the things that you need to include when you mail in your name change application. So I looked at it and was immediately disheartened because it was even more complicated than people had told me it was, and I kind of just put it aside and said I would do it when I had more energy, because at that point I was still in recovery. So it has been sitting on my desk since January. And every few months, every few weeks, I look at it and I look at the papers again and I say, okay, I just have to do it, and once it's done, it'll be worth it and whatever, and I've just put it off and put it off. And then finally yesterday I decided to tackle it, and I told myself I was just gonna get as much done yesterday as I possibly could. So, let's open the little envelope, because it's so much fun, and the government of Quebec just makes everything so easy and cheap and stress-free, and it's just a lovely experience. So first there's like a little letter telling you, congratulations, you can apply for it. And then the first thing you have to do is you have to fill out their form. So I started by doing that, and the first thing that you have to do on the form is fill out your current name, like your birth name, what you want to change your name to, your address and all that information, your parents' names, blah, 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 blah. Cool, done, whatever. Filled all that out, done. Putting that aside. The next thing that you have to fill out on the form is an explanation of why you want to change your name. So in their little booklet that they give you, there's a list of possible reasons that you could use, and the one that most trans people use is number 3, which is serious harm or psychological suffering. Cool, fine, that fits, whatever, I'll put that. I put that down, I write the reason for my name change is that I'm trans, blah, 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 it causes me psychological suffering, all this and that, on IDs, and having to present them, and it's embarrassing, and all that crap. The only thing is that there's a stipulation with using this as a reason, which is that you have to get a letter from your therapist telling them that you are indeed being caused psychological suffering or physical harm from your name, and that having a new name would greatly alleviate or eliminate this, which is okay. But then also because you're trans, it helps to have a letter from your endocrinologist or whoever's prescribing you your hormones to prove that you have been on hormones for at least a year, because I've heard in the past that they don't allow you to change your name based on the fact that you're trans if you have not been on hormones for a year. So it's at this point of the video that I would like to start a little, shall we say, bill of how much this is going to cost. The letter from my endocrinologist was $40, which is a pain in the fucking ass. And I have just contacted my therapist and haven't gotten an answer back from him, but I could only assume that the letter from him will be somewhere in the same range. So let's say that that together costs $80. Okay, that's our new subtotal. The next thing on the form is to fill out your method of payment for the actual name change itself. Now, the name change costs about $140 for the process and $10 to give you a name change certificate. So that's $150. So now we're at a subtotal of $230. Stay with me, it just gets so much better. So then we have this, the next part of the form is to sign a declaration under oath. Basically, you have to go to a notary or some other official and have them say that you're not lying or some shit like that. I don't know. I have no clue how much that is going to cost, so we're just going to leave that off the bill for now. Okay, what's next? Let's see. Okay, so then the form's all filled out, and the last thing that I need to fill out on it is make sure I have everything on this list within the package that I send in. So the first thing is to include a legible copy of your photo ID for a proof of address and a proof of like a photo and your name and whatever. So I did all the photocopying and stuff, and that was just a few dollars, whatever. The next thing on the list is that you have to, and this is where the fun starts, really. So you have to get your name published, your name change published in the official Montreal Gazette 2 times for 2 consecutive weeks. And that takes at least 7 weeks to do because they're slow and everybody involved in this entire process is a giant dick. So that lovely little process costs $108. So let's add $2 just to round it off for all the photocopies and stuff. So we'll say that that's $110. And we're going to add that to our original subtotal of $230. So we're now at $340. And I'm not even anywhere close to being done. The next thing you have to do, aside from publishing your name in the actual official Gazette of Montreal, you also have to publish your name in a newspaper, like a local newspaper in your district. Same thing, twice for 2 consecutive weeks. And all of this is to be done so that anybody who sees this could actually contest your name change if they have a valid reason. So Chase had told me that when he did it, he paid $96 for this, which is a ridiculous amount, but I was willing to do it, whatever. I contacted 2 newspapers, an English one and a French one that Chase went to. So the English one quoted me $350 for 2 ads for something that I didn't even want to print. No thank you. The second newspaper I contacted, the one that Chase went to, quoted me $170. Now, while I'm aware that this is significantly less than $350, it is also double what Chase had to pay not too long ago. So I'm pissed off. But nevertheless, I'm going to use the $170 newspaper, obviously, unless I can find a better one, instead of the $350 newspaper. So what were we at? We were at $340 before, so add the $170 to that, and we're now at $510. And once again, I'm not even close to finish. So let's pretend that everything has gone smoothly so far, and we're just going to neglect the fact that sending the name change to a local paper, that law has actually been removed. We don't have to do that anymore legally. But the law itself hasn't been passed. So on all this bullshit forms that they send you, that stipulation, that requirement is still on the forms, and that requirement is still on their website. And all the employees that take care of the name change that are actually going to be reading your material when you send it in don't know about this new law. So if you send in your package without that, you'll probably get rejected. So pretty much I'm paying $170 that I don't even want to pay in the first place for something that I legally don't even have to do, but I have to pay it anyways. But anyways, we're going to ignore that. $510. So now I'm at the point, once I've gotten all that done, where I can send in all that information. And just so you know, having sent in your stuff to the newspapers and to the official Gazette is not good enough. You have to wait for them to actually be printed, receive copies of them, send the people with your name change package actual clippings of your announcement for the 2 weeks in both of those papers. So yes, let's say all that gets done. For whatever reason, and I don't even think they have like a list of valid reasons, they can, after all of this, still reject your name change. And the best part is, all that money, that $510, is 100% non-refundable. So that'll be fun to see in a few months if my name change gets rejected. Whatever. The whole thing is annoying, so I'm going to try to be a little bit optimistic, and I'm going to assume that I've done everything right, and that by the time I send in my name change stuff, everything will be taken care of, and that it'll get put on the desk of someone who is actually a decent human being, and that everything is fine, and it will get passed, and in a few months from now, I'll have my name change certificate in hand. So I've already spent this $510 theoretically, and once the name change passes, now I get to go through the joy of actually changing all my documents. And this is not an easy task because there's quite a few of them. I have to change my birth certificate, I have to change my passport, my driver's license, my Medicare card, all my hospital cards, my bank card, my credit card, my diploma, and every single certification that I've ever gotten for personal training. So that'll be fun. And having gone through getting a new passport and driver's license and all that recently, I know that these things do cost a bit of money. So I'm going to assume, I'm just going to make a made-up price, that for all those things I just mentioned, I'll have to pay around $200 collectively. So now our total is at $710 for a fucking name change. But I'm not done, because everything that I just mentioned is only for the name change. And after all this is done, I wish it could have been during, but I'm also going to want to get my gender marker changed. But that's a whole separate story, because the laws for that, much like the laws for the name change, are also in the process of changing, and much like the name change laws, the laws for gender marker change also are legally changed, but have not been passed yet, so nobody knows that they're actually true. Basically, the thing that changed is that in the past, in order to have your gender marker changed on your identifications, you would have had to have bottom surgery, for lack of a better term. They were essentially forcing us to sterilize ourselves in order to have our gender marker changed. And that has been removed, but again, nobody knows that it has. So in order for me to get my gender marker changed, I have to do one of two things. I have to either wait an indefinite amount of time before being able to apply so that this law actually passes, or I have to get bottom surgery, which I'm not doing, obviously. But either option would take a significant amount of time to do. So let's go with scenario A, where I just wait for the law to actually change and deal with it then. Okay? Not forcing myself to get any unwanted surgery, so that's a plus, I guess. So I pay the $710 and everything's fine. And then I wait months and months and months and I have all my IDs changed and everything's going swimmingly, and then finally the law passes and I get to change my gender marker, and then guess what? $140 for that whole process, so we're now at $850. And because I have to change just a few less identifications, but most of them still, I'm going to say $150 to change all my IDs again. So we are at a grand total of $1,000 for this whole fucking process. And I honestly don't know of places in the world where it is going to cost as much as it would here. The whole thing is ridiculous. The things they make you do are ridiculous. One of the newspapers that I contacted, the one that actually quoted me $350, they didn't only quote $350 for two fucking ads that I didn't want to put in their bloody newspaper, but they told me that I had to wait for the official Gazette postings to come back to me and send them those clippings so that they could print in the exact same words what the official Gazette had printed. Which is completely ridiculous, because obviously I'd at the very least, want to do both of these things at the same time so that they could come back to me in some reasonable amount of time. But no, I would have to wait for the fucking official Gazette to send me the clippings, then I would have to send those exact clippings to the newspaper, and somehow get them back to send in with my name change application. Like, $1,000 And like, one of the annoying things is that I've heard that some people have applied for their gender marker change at the same time, and sometimes it goes through and sometimes it doesn't. But there's a possibility that if I were to send in my gender marker change at the same time, they would get fed up and they would just reject the whole fucking thing. So I'm not going to do that, because I'd rather have at least my name changed for now and deal with the gender marker stuff later. But like, okay, I think I'm done my rant. Nothing else is new with me. I will keep you updated on the ridiculous saga of this frustrating, expensive load of bullshit. And I'll leave it at that, except to say that I got a tattoo. I don't know if I showed you guys this. Oh, sorry, I'm in my underwear. Whatever. This is my new tattoo. Can you see it? Right in time for the 23rd. Oh, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna go do some retail therapy, which is illogical because I'm gonna have to spend $1,000 on this, but whatever. I'll talk to you guys soon.